Last week at Unadilla, series points leader Steve Lamson lost his points lead with an overall 12th place performance to this young man, Ryan Hughes, who goes 1-1, sweeping both motos for his first outdoor victories, also to claim a 2-point advantage over Lamson. Hello, everyone. I'm John Kernan, along with Jan Beekes. And Jan, last week, a tough track. This week, totally different.
It really is. Last week, we were at a total natural terrain course. This might as well be a supercross, John. It's all man-made, big jumps. Now, will the guys who usually do real well in supercross, who don't normally do as well outdoors, be the guys to be? Let's think about the Suzuki riders, Damon Huffman, also Ezra Lusk. They both won supercross championships. They could be tough here. Ryan Hughes leading the championship, finally winning outdoor. He's been tough in supercross. He's probably a guy to watch.
And Ryan Hughes is standing by with our Jerry Bernardo.
Ryan Hughes, now 2 points in lead in the 125 Outdoor National Series. Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Last weekend I just wanted to, I wanted to win a moto, and I came away with 2. I wasn't expecting to be in the lead, but now that I am, so I'm just going to keep it like all the rest of the racers, try and win as many motos. I'm only 2 points ahead, so that's not like a lead to protect. It's just like I'm in third still, and yeah, it's going to keep winning motos and hopefully pull away in the points lead.
Okay, talk to us about Unadilla. 1-1. Can't beat it, obviously. Really tough track. They ran amateurs for 2 days. It was choppy, nasty, gnarly, and you went 1-1. Wait, let me chuck this in real quick. Chad told me, says, he's sick of getting second. He said, I'm going to kick some butt at the Dilla.
Yeah, I knew I could win. I was getting really close, so it was like that track suited my style. It was really rough, choppy, rocky. It's kind of like a track that I had back home that I practiced on. So, I just went out there, rode my own race, rode really smooth, and just tried making every lap the same, and I eventually pulled away both motos, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, the track at Troy here has got a lot of jumps, a little more like Supercross. If you get out front, do you think you might be able to get a little lead going, or how's that different style? I mean, the choppy Unadilla track, and now this is a little more technical with the jumps.
Yeah, you just gotta slow down a little bit, make sure you backside all the jumps and everything, make sure every corner is really smooth. Yeah, the hard part is coming through the pack because of the turns are kind of one line and everything. So if you do get in front, it might be a little easy to pull away. But it's got to be really smooth out there. Make sure just take your time. And the track's a lot different than Unadilla, but it's got to ride a different style.
Okay, last one. Repeated burning question. The alleged Mitch Payton said if any of my riders wins one moto, he will get a trip to Hawaii. Ryan Hughes won 2 motos. What has Mitch Payton, team manager, come across for that?
Well, he said I'm.
Deuce, give me the dirt. Come on.
No, we're the deuce. We're going to Hawaii. He said he'd give me a ticket, and I think Jeremy McGrath's going, and Phil Lawrence, and Jimmy Button. So
what island?
We haven't decided yet. Just the one with the most people, most girls. All that fun.
Notice how he threw in girls there.
Yeah,
skip the people, go for the girls.
Okay, most girls.
All right, thanks.
Sounds like a great philosophy to me. Thank you very much, Jerry Bernardo. We are at Kenworthys Motocross Park in Troy, Ohio. We'll be back with the start of Moto number 1 in just a moment. Welcome back to Troy, Ohio, Kenworthy Motocross Park. I'm John Kernan, along with Jan Beekes up here in the booth. Jerry Bernardo will be roaming the pits as always, taking a look at the defending national champion, Doug Henry. He trails this young man, Ryan Hughes, by 3 points in the chase for the 1994 national championship. We are in round 8. Let's take a look at the track map.
Well, when you look at this track map, you'd say, wow, there's actually crossovers here. But no, just where it says above start there, that's actually the road back to the pits. The quickest way to sum up this track is that it's an outdoor track, but with supercross jumps.
And that should mean a very exciting show for the some 15,000 fans who have gathered this year. Jan, I think that's the most fans we've had at one of these events this year.
Well, the outdoor circuits don't draw like they do in the stadiums, but I tell you, they fly like they do in the stadiums. Let's look at this ultra-important start. Oh, you can see what happens to a couple guys there. If you go too early, the gate catches you.
Well, they'll come up, make that hard right-hand turn. Looks like Ryan Hughes, the points leader, is going to lead him through turn number 1. Rhino has jumped out into the lead. It looks like Ezra Lusk also back there. Damon Huffman also got off to a pretty good start. You can see Doug Henry, Steve Lamson, and there's one of those first high-flying jumps, Jan.
Well, you're going to look at the track very early on. You can see it is a supercross-style, high-flying technical circuit. Ryan Hughes got an absolute rocket of a start. And look at Henry coming up the inside and battling there with Huffman.
Henry right now and Huffman battling for the second. It looks like a couple of riders can't quite make out the numbers on the number plates, but a couple of the riders back in the middle of the pack have problems negotiating, but they get back up and get refired and started. And look at Doug Henry shoot past Huffman, trying to make a bid for the lead.
What you saw there, John, is you saw Ryan Hughes take an outside line, get on the gas sooner, double the other jumps that Henry and Huffman singled. That pulled out about a 2 or 3 bike length advantage for him. These other guys will try that next time, I bet.
Right now, Ryan Hughes is in command as we're in the early stages of Moto number 1. Oh, another one of those high-flying jumps. I think I actually heard the fans cheering in the background, Jan. But look at Doug Henry. He takes that outside rut, closes the gap on Hughes. He should be making a bid for the lead momentarily.
This section of the track that they just completed would be very similar to what we normally see on an outdoor circuit. They'll make another tight, rutted turn here, but very soon we'll go back to what they call the stairway to heaven. And that is that each of the jumps progressively get larger, and it looks very much like what you'd see on a supercross circuit. You've got a couple of S-turns to take before they get there, but then look out because these bikes really, really fly. This is where they set up for it. Got some stutter bumps, and they'll be on the gas leading on to this section. Here comes the first one.
You saw Hughes get a little squirrely. He almost lost control as he came out of that turn, and now side by side, Doug Henry Rhino for the lead. There they fly over, and look, Hughes gets the advantage as he'll go on the inside, but Henry tries to take him on the outside, and Doug gets the traction, squirts by, takes over the top spot.
Now there was a case where Doug Henry doubled one that Ryan Hughes singled. That shows you the difference, the way these guys can pick up time if they time it just right, and they can, as Ryan Hughes said at the beginning, at this track you have to backside the jumps. That's what he's talking about.
Well, let's take a look at again the stairway to heaven.
At the exit of the stairway to heaven, it looks like Ryan Hughes has an advantage because normally you think the inside line is faster. But watch the roost right here on the outside. Boom, you see the Honda, gets on the power. Right there, he doubles it, lands on the backside. Ryan Hughes does not.
Well, Doug Henry, the defending national champion, who's already got a couple overall wins this year, has moved out into the lead in the early stages of Moto number 1. Ryan Hughes, though, trying to stay right on his tail, and that's a great shot there. The fan standing down there, and look, Rhino has fallen beyond, and 3 more bikes get by him.
Well, what happened is he went to the outside rut. The rut was deeper. It caught his foot peg and put him right down on his face. Looks like he's going to get going, but man, that is a poor time to fall, and we'll get a chance to see on replay here exactly what happened. He went into the rut. Oh, what happened was it caught the foot peg, put his face right in. He fixes the old visor there, and hopefully it's running, and he won't lose too many positions.
Well, he lost 3 right there. You see Ezra Lusk has moved up. He was running 5th early on, you'll recall. He has moved up. And look, Steve Lamson, Mr. Consistency over most of the years, had a problem there. Don't know if he crashed or just got off the bike momentarily, but he lost a couple of spots as Rhino is right behind him.
Well, what that shows is that Ryan Hughes lost more than 3 positions, and now he's trying to work his way back up through. So that helped him that Lamson had trouble as he's going to try and work himself up front.
Well, that's Jeff Emig. You see him. He's running in the 4th. I believe Davey Yezik is 5th. And James Dobb on number 30 is back in the 6th spot.
And right behind them, you can see that battle of Ryan Hughes and Lamson are just behind this sequence of riders with, right now, we're looking at James Dobb.
Well, Jeff Emig has had kind of an up-and-down season. Started off at Gainesville with a victory. The next week, he missed the first moto with an electrical problem, and it just hasn't been really kind. Up and down, although he does have a couple of overall wins. You look at the Suzuki teammates, Ezra Lusk and Damon Huffman. They are trying to chase down the leader, though, Doug Henry. Let's check in his pits with Jerry.
Pete, after an early little dice with Ryan Hughes out front, now Mr. Henry's out front. He's running nice and strong. He's got a little bit of a lead with Ezra in tow.
Yeah, I think what Doug's got is a strategy where he's going to ride his own race. And if somebody tries to get around him, that's when he's going to have to push it.
Okay, about his health thing at Unadilla, he went from the second moto right to the ambulance for an IV. Think he'll be able to hold out here?
We got a little different plan going this weekend, and we're just going to test it and see what happens.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Well, we can tell you what that plan is. After ending up in the hospital after the last 2 motos, Dr. Tom Malone from the AMA has given him an IV before this race to see if he'll have the endurance to make the distance.
Well, you're looking further back in the pack. That's Doug Henry's teammate Steve Lamson. He's mired back in 7th, chasing James Dobb. Henry, Lusk, and Huffman are your top 3. Battle for second place shaping up back here at Troy, Ohio. Ezra Lusk, followed by his teammate Damon Huffman on the number 20 Suzuki.
Well, you know, these guys, as we mentioned at the top of the show, both won their respective Supercross championships. Wow! That shows you why. These guys know how to style on those jumps.
Man, that takes your breath away, doesn't it? But Ezra Lusk right now and his teammate Damon Huffman, they might want to try and hook up to try and chase down the leader, Doug Henry. Let's check in with Jerry.
Ed, we're here at Troy, and we have a little bit of a strange track. It has a lot of jumps. I don't know what happened, but there's Ezra out front. He's in second now. He's looking a little bit better than he has in the past few races. What do you think's going on with him?
Well, he's a little sore and a little mad from last weekend. We just didn't have the best weekend, so he kind of likes it here. It's more a little towards Supercross, so we're just going to see if we can run Henry down and win this first moto.
Sounds good. Wish you the best of luck.
We thank you.
When Ed Longacre mentioned that he was sore and mad, Ezra Lusk that is, that's because he got clocked at the last race. If you remember that, John, after the start, he fell and just got nailed from behind right in the middle of the back.
Well, that was certainly a tough race last week. In fact, Steve Lamson also took a spill, a shoulder and ankle, twisted an ankle. But right now, you're looking at the two Suzuki teammates running second and third. As we told you, they're both Supercross champions in their respective divisions this year, so you would expect them to do this well.
Well, we'll have to see if that sore back is going to hurt Lusk or not. He is really ailing in the championship, but Huffman at the moment is really going to have to push. Let's take this opportunity and check in again with Jerry.
Tony Berluti, you're going to have to wipe that grimace off your face. Mr. Huffman's doing pretty good in there in third.
Yeah, he's doing all right. It's early in the race, but we'll see what happens at the end here. Usually stronger at the end of the race, so I hope that he can get those two spots. We need points bad.
All right, as insofar as his results at Unadilla, he probably was a little bit disappointed, took a crash here and there. You think he's got that on his mind here at Troy?
Oh, yeah, he wants to do really good everywhere he goes, but after having a bad finish like last week, he's definitely, want to show that he's, capable of doing really well here.
Grazie molto, paisan. Berluti, there's a vowel at the end of his name. He's Italian.
Well, Jerry Bernardo, I guess that's an O, a vowel at the end of his name. He's kind of a wackadoo kind of guy, isn't he?
He certainly is.
Oh,
we see these two guys. Here we see Huffman going to the outside. They're going to be side by side, but nope, that groove didn't work at the moment for Huffman. He's definitely putting the pressure on Lusk.
Well, we're nearing the midway point of this moto. We talked about Ezra Lusk, how sore he is, and maybe that's starting to come into a factor as they come over the stutter bumps, as you call it, but it looks like Huffman, and look at Jeff Emig. He is moving into the picture now. He is in the fourth position, but here comes Ezra Lusk as he goes over that double, is followed fairly closely by his teammate Damon Huffman. Huffman looking to set him up for the pass.
One thing that's very interesting to watch here, as these bikes get close together, they're both Suzuki factory bikes. Oh, as we see Huffman go to the outside, what you want to look for is how do they go over the bumps, because one of these bikes is running the conventional forks and one is running the inverted. It is Huffman on the number 20 machine has the inverted forks, and they said here this weekend is the first time that he had a special number plate and fork guard that looked as though it might have been a factory piece. What does that mean? Maybe in the future we'll see these RM125s come with the conventional forks as opposed to inverted.
And that might come as early as next year, you think?
Well, so far they say the 95 bikes are going to have the conventional, but who knows what's going to happen after that.
Well, look at Damon Huffman. He really closed up right there. Some more of those stutter bumps. They come over the jumps there. Huffman a little bit smoother, it looks like, coming through. And yes, he's side by side now. Damon Huffman looking to take over second place. A nice double jump there as he just motored right on past his Suzuki teammate Ezra Lusk to take over the second position. But now he's got to set his sights on Doug Henry.
Well, certainly the bikes seem to be working well, but it looks more like it was riding style of Huffman that pulled that off. The bike has to ride smooth, but we know that Lusk is sore. Speaking of shock absorbers, the AMA said that next year in Supercross, they're not going to allow factory suspension. Going back to the replay first, though, let's watch carefully. You can see the bikes do work a little bit differently, but it's the riding style there, the smooth style of Huffman, that makes that pass possible. Getting back to the previous point, next year, no more factory suspension to try and make Supercross more affordable for the average rider.
They're going to put a price limit on it, right?
Yeah, you can probably run some kind of aftermarket shock, but it has to fit in a specific price range.
I think that's probably a good idea because, I mean, they were getting way, way expensive. I mean, some of these works bikes. Well, right now, Damon Huffman has moved into second place. He's followed by his teammate Ezra Lusk, but Doug Henry is still leading the pack. Past the halfway point, we're at Kenworthy Motocross Park, Troy, Ohio, and as you look there, you see that Damon Huffman's running second, Ezra Lusk is third, but more importantly, Jan, look at Jeff Emig, who has come up to challenge.
Jeff Emig has certainly been this year the rider that has come from behind more than any other rider, and right now he is pacing himself to a level pretty much quicker than any other bike out there, and if he keeps that speed up, he'll be in the front in no time.
Well, you look right there. Huffman goes to the outside, Luss to the inside, Emig to the outside, and actually closes the gap on Ezra.
This is going to be very interesting to watch closely. Watch the different lines these guys are taking. There goes the leader. There's second, third, fourth, all on slightly different lines. Let's see who's picking the best ones here as we come into the backside of the course.
Oh, as you saw there, it looks like this trio is actually catching Doug Henry. We don't know if Doug's just kind of slowed down to a slower pace to save himself for the end of the moto, but now look at Jeff Emig. He's going to challenge Ezra Luss. They come over the jump. He gets up, but he gets a little bit out of shape. Now he goes to the outside, and Jeff Emig takes over the third spot. That was a nice-looking pass.
That was. The telltale sign there is that Ezra Lusk is hurting as he started looking behind him. He looked over his shoulder just before this pass took place. We see here a different line choice for Emig. Gets on the power earlier, and then right there, slingshots by him.
If you can find a rut on the outside, you can actually carry your momentum with you, correct?
Absolutely. That's what he did. Man, I love to see the way they fly over this one. Man, these guys are off to the races. That was fantastic.
What, they're having some kind of an air show up the road, right?
Absolutely. They have a very world-famous Dayton Air Show, so I guess this is not the only air show in Ohio today.
Well, Jeff Emig certainly putting on a show as he slices his way through the pack. Let's check into his pits.
Steve, are you feeling a little better now that Jeff's moved up into third?
Yeah, I guess he's just made a pass into third, and he's working on second. There's still 5 laps to go, so I don't know, maybe he can win this.
No. He can win this. We need positive. Anybody here can win it. But we're talking to you, so you have to say, my man can win it.
I think he's going to win it. He's going to be working on Henry within the next 2 laps.
Thank you.
Hey, Jerry, I think you need to work on that Australian accent. Well, Jeff Emig is slicing his way through the field. He stands in the third position right now, looking to move on up. It's kind of been an up-and-down season for the champion of 2 years ago. Jan has more.
Jeff Emig, known as Mr. 125, got off to a picture-perfect start in 1994 by winning overall the opening round in Gainesville. But that wouldn't last long. In Sacramento, at the first moto, no bike. Electrical problems knocked him out of competition. He was forced to stand at the grid and wait as all the other competitors went to the first turn and sprayed him with rocks. But it was not the only race where Jeff would be knocked out with mechanical problems. At Southwick, sand was sucked into the engine.
It's been really up and down for me. Not quite as consistent, as what I would have liked. I wanted to, to win quite a few races right at the beginning, and I've only won 2 overall. So, the year hasn't gone as planned. We have had problems, and disagreements between me and the bike. And, but it's running really great right now, and it's fast enough to win, and that's what I'm going to have to do.
And that's exactly what he did right off the start at the Red Bud Track and Trail in Buchanan, Michigan. He got the hole shot, was on the gas, streamed away for a victory in Moto number 1.
I can't never let my fans down. They're, I've got so many fans there, and they always seem to pull for me, and that is a good racetrack for me, and so I look forward to the places where I've won, and the places where I haven't won, definitely a challenge for me.
Jeff would not disappoint his fans. He continued to style, he continued to fly, and in Moto number 2, he came home with the victory, a 1-1. He went home with the maximum number of points, and he now was back in the championship fight. On the podium, he was able to spray the champagne with fellow riders Ryan Hughes and Steve Lamson and show everyone why he has earned that name, Mr. 125.
Thank you very much, Jan. Nice job. Back up front, Doug Henry leading Damon Huffman, and there you see Jeff Emig riding along in third place. He's trying to close it and take over that second position.
We talked about it earlier. He seems like he is the fastest rider on the track right now. If he can work his way past the Suzuki rider, then he can put his sights on the Honda.
Typically, this year, throughout the first half of the season, when Emig's been out there, he can be in the middle of the pack. As we get to the final 15 minutes, it just seems like something kicks in and he takes off. Oh, look, that's Ryan Hughes is down in the Stairway to Heaven area. And Jan, he looks a little bit groggy.
Wow, he obviously wants to get out of there before someone else lands on top of him. He doesn't look like he knows. Oh, he must have really taken a bang on the head. He's trying to figure out what state he's in now, John.
Well, fortunately, he was able to get off the track before someone came in there. You could see the bikes flying over him, but certainly we hope Rhino is okay. He is our points leader.
At the opening of the show, he said you have to backside the jumps. Talk about backsiding. Look at Jeff Emig do exactly that in the same section and make the move.
Well, we saw Damon Huffman make that same move on Ezra Lusk earlier, and look at Jeff Emig, went to school, and Jeff, right now, he's moved into second place behind Doug Henry, and Henry is still within shouting distance.
And listen to those fans. That is exactly what really spurs on Jeff Emig, as we see on replay. Look at how much further he flies. He's on the gas sooner, takes the inside line. Whoa, right there, you would have thought he lost time, but no, he jumped right into position and made the move on Huffman.
Well, you saw Huffman jumped. He was on the outside lane. He had to go around the slow part of the track, and look at Jeff Emig. He is closing down the gap on our leader, Doug Henry, while Damon Huffman sits in third place. We will be back with the finish of Moto number 1 after this. Welcome back to Kenworthys Motocross Park, Troy, Ohio. Jan Beekes, Jerry Bernardo, and John Kernan. We're in the closing laps, and Jeff Emig, Mr. 125, has closed the gap on Doug Henry, who is currently leading it, but Emig putting a lot of pressure on him.
We said that he was motivated by the crowd, and the crowd is absolutely getting behind him right now because they want to see a battle for the lead. We have seen a great battle in every one of the 125 races we've had this year, John. This is great racing.
Well, Doug Henry scoots away by a little bit right there, but Jeff Emig coming right back. In fact, he closes the gap. They'll come up here on the left-hander past the crowd. There you have to slow down, gear down for the second over the jumps, and those little doubles right there, and Doug Henry continuing to hold on to first place. But look at Jeff Emig trying to make his move right now.
This is the place where Doug Henry is going to hope that the IV that he got is going to work, because at the end of the motos is when he has lost strength. Right now, he looks strong. These two guys are running neck and neck.
Right now, Jeff Emig looking to chase down Doug Henry. How many times have we seen it? Emig trying to scoot along on the outside. That was not the right move, but look at that jump there. Jan, he closed it in a hurry.
We saw Ryan Hughes do that earlier. Jeff Emig went to the outside and actually looked like he tripled that jump and closed the gap in on Henry. Where it's really going to show is on some of these high-flying jumps where you have to time it. These guys might start taking chances.
Well, we've seen Emig do this so many times. Now he's flying up, trying to catch down Doug Henry, but how many times have we seen him when he's out there and not had a problem that he comes on so strong in the closing stages of these motos? But right now, Doug Henry is doing a really good job at holding off Jeff Emig.
Doug Henry is responding to the challenge. He got very close, or I should say Jeff Emig got very close to him, and he responded. This is not over.
Not over by a long shot. Just a couple of laps to go. It should be a very exciting finish. Doug Henry, who had taken the lead early on, had things his way most of the afternoon in Moto number 1. But right now, Jeff Emig steadily worked his way up and is making a challenge for the lead. He tries on the inside, but no, Henry gets on the gas first. As they come over the jumps, it looks like Emig is making up a little bit of ground at a time. Here we are at the Stairway to Heaven. Oh, Jeff a little squirrely. Oh, he's on the front wheel, and Jeff Emig has crashed. Oh, that had to hurt.
Ooh, that was a big, big crunch. He actually over-jumped it, John, is what happened. It looks like, well, he's definitely shaken up. But boy, Jeff Emig, man, he's probably seeing stars right now. And that just really hurt to watch this. On the replay, you can see what happened. He actually jumped a little too far, couldn't get back on the gas, and then right here, watch Doug Henry land perfectly, but then wham! Oh, there's no words to describe how much that must have hurt.
Planted that front wheel, landed right there. And there you see Jeff Emig. Now he's gotten back up, and you know this is the true mark of a champion. He's not feeling well. There are only a lap and a half or so left. Gets back on that bike.
We are on the final lap, and those fans are saying, come on, Jeff, if you can just ride that last lap, you might be able to salvage some points.
Well, Doug Henry right now is smooth sailing ahead as he just takes it very, very easily around the remaining turns on this course. Doug Henry is going to pick up the win in Moto number 1. Taking a look at the top 5, Damon Huffman second, followed by Ezra Lusk, Steve Lamson, and Pingree in the 5th position. And as you check out 6 through 10, Jerry Bernardo is down in the pits, and he's caught up with our winner.
Doug, wire to wire here at Troy. It kills me. You're supposed to be sick and have an infection, and you're ready for an interview.
Yeah, you know, we're trying stuff, you know, every weekend, trying to get better, and I got a new doctor at home. You know, I saw a gastrointestinologist or whatever you call him, and
Belly
you know,
doctor.
he thinks he knows what it is, and we tried some stuff last week, and the doctor here, the AMA doctor here, Tom Malone, is trying something also today, and you know, I felt really good. You know, the second moto is really, you know, that's where we're going to know if it's working or not.
All right, well, the new hairdo, did that have anything to do with it? I mean, you led wire to wire. You had a killer dog fight behind you. Huffman, Lusk, and Emig, man, they were going at it.
Yeah, you know, I kind of knew they were behind me. I just tried to ride my own race, and, you know, if they caught up to me, they caught up to me. I just wanted to ride my own race and, you know, go out there and win.
Did you notice this time we actually had cold water?
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Good job.
Thanks.
And also a very good job turned in by Suzuki rider Damon Huffman. He comes home in second place. He's standing by with Jerry.
All right, Damon, a little bit better of a showing. You know, you're out there in second now. First moto here at Troy.
Yeah, lately I've been just floundering out there, been getting bad starts, and finally, you know, I like this type of track, and the dirt, I love it. So I kind of knew in the back of my head, you know, I was going to get a good start. Got out there, was to the first turn first, but I don't think I downshifted enough, but, you know, I'm really happy with second, and hopefully, you know, second motos always do better, and maybe I can wrap another one up.
Well, we all remember in the closing stages, Jeff Emig with that horrifying crash. Well, he recovered to finish 24th in Moto number 1, and he's down with Jerry.
Jeffro, you started out in 15th, moved up to like 5th, and then you were up banging for second with a couple of Suzuki riders. All of a sudden, you were gone. What happened?
Well, you know, I caught up to Henry there, and I was going to make a move on him in the grass section. It's these big, huge jumps. You know, there was like a couple doubles down the straight, and I was over jumping the first one. Then I was having to slow down for the second set. Then there was one more set after it, and I didn't get slowed down enough. And when I over jumped it, you know, I just plowed right into the face, man, head first. I didn't think I'd get up.
I know. I was going to say we didn't see you come around, and then all of a sudden, about a lap later, you popped around. You're all right? Other than coughing.
Yeah, hit my chest real hard. I was seeing stars after that one, but nothing new. I've done it before, and I'm going to come back to the second one, and they'll see who is the fastest guy here at Troy. That's for damn sure.
Ryan Hughes is another guy who has something to prove in Moto 2. He finished 14th. We'll be back with the start next. Welcome back to Troy, Ohio. Jerry Bernardo down in the pits. Jan Beekes and John Kernan up here in the booth. We're getting set, as is Jeff Emig, for the start of Moto number 2. And Jan, it looks like he's still trying to shake off the effects of that crash he had in the first moto.
He said that he saw stars, and one thing he's going to have to think about, he said, I'm going to go back and win this moto. He has 24th pick when it comes to the start. So instead of being close to the starting gate, he's going to be way off to the side. It'll be tough for him to work through.
I guess when he said he saw stars, he wasn't talking about Madonna.
No, I don't think so.
Getting set for the gate to drop. Everybody revving up the engines. Getting ready for the start of Moto number 2. Be quite interesting to see who comes out with the hole shot.
You can see when you look, you see number 4, which is Lamson, Ryan Hughes, as you look across, then Doug Henry. They all take the middle positions. That's where the good starts usually come from. Let's see who gets it.
There's Ryan Hughes, Steve Lamson, and Ezra Lusk. Damon Huffman also going through the first turn. And it looks like Ezra Lusk has come away with a hole shot. Look, there's Robbie Raynard. Didn't hear much about him in that very first moto, but he has gotten off to a pretty good start.
He is another one of those riders that crashed not just once, but twice in the first moto, and then a sprocket fell off, and he retired. Robbie Raynard hoping for better fortunes here this moto.
Yeah, you can't get anywhere without that sprocket, can you? But, oh, look at Rhino trying to make a move on the inside of Ezra Lusk to take over the point. It doesn't happen, but look at Steve Lamson as he has worked his way right up front, and there's Robbie. Robbie. Oh, looks like he just overjumped the corner right there, and he's going to lose a couple of spots. But once again, Rhino on the outside, trying to find a line to work. Look at that jump there as he momentarily gets ahead of Ezra.
That is his pattern move that we saw him do in the first moto. He has taken the lead. So Ezra Lusk, but Ezra Lusk is trying to come back. Who they tangle, John?
Oh, it looks like they got hung up for just a moment, and Steve Lamson is able to slip by on the outside and take over that position. But both Rhino and Ezra get going, only losing about a spot apiece.
So Ezra Lusk, who got the hole shot, went from first to third in 3 corners.
Look at that. Was that Damon Huffman on the outside trying to take that high road around that turn? Yes, it was. Let's look at this again.
On replay, you can see they get very close. Ryan Hughes is trying to get into the right, but then look there. Oh, he's got to go down another gear because he nearly stalled out there, and that's what gave Lammy the chance to go through.
It almost looked like a foot peg got stuck in the spokes right there, and they had to separate the bikes. Well, Steve Lamson has moved out in front, and Lammy, Mr. Consistency this year, led the points from the second moto, or the second race. I said, oh, we've got a rider down, 3:15 Bechtel. I think that's who that is. That's Brian Deegan, and my goodness, it looks like his pants are caught on the foot peg.
Wow, he got speared by Brian Deegan, and the foot peg actually went right into his pants, and he was dragged down the track. Let's look on replay. Look at this. This is very scary. Oh, it's a good thing that his legs did not get in there and get caught up in those spokes or in those knobbies. Man, he's a lucky young man.
Man, Bechtel's lucky to come away with just some torn pants on that. Now you look back here at this battle. Ryan Hughes around Ezra Lusk. They're trying to chase down Steve Lamson. This is the battle for second place, and look at Ezra. He's really trying to put the moves, working really hard on Rhino in the early stages of this moto.
Remember, both these two guys are trying to shake off injury. Ezra Lusk from Unadilla when he crashed and got hit from behind, and of course we saw Rhino just walking around like he didn't know where he was in that first moto.
Yeah, it looked like definitely lights were dimmed for Ryan Hughes in that first moto, but he's come back and doing a pretty good job right now.
We should mention that he did come back to finish 14th in the first moto, so you got to give this guy a lot of credit. He is one tough hombre.
Well, here they come in this fast turn. They'll have to gear down, and look at Rhino slips a little bit in the mud. Ezra gets alongside. Oh, Ezra looks like he's going to take the spot as he got around Rhino. What a nice move.
Ryan Hughes knew that he was beat, but then he did not give up. He immediately tried to take a later apex, get on the power. This will be a great shot of it. Right here he loses, wiggles just a little bit because they were trying for the same rut. But now he says, look, I'll cut it real quick, get on the power. He almost got him back. Now there's a guy who doesn't give up easily.
Well, he let Ezra Lusk carry high, and then he tried to cut it off, but it just didn't work at that point in time. They go over the little stutter bumps, and look at Ezra. Man, he got a great bite coming out of that turn.
But you know, we've seen guys, especially right here, like we saw Jeff Emig. He said, I over-jumped it, and that's what got me in trouble. And right there, Ryan Hughes slowed down too much, and Damon Huffman's taking advantage, and he's got the spot.
Damon Huffman to the inside. We saw Damon make that move in moto number 1 early to take a position on his Suzuki teammate Ezra Lusk. Well, he saved that line. He thought about it and saw the perfect position right there to make the move on Rhino. And look, Doug Henry, who won the first moto, has worked his way into the top 5.
Now, Ryan Hughes, all he did was he hesitated just for a moment in the place that he crashed, and it cost him dearly.
Well, Steve Lamson, Mr. Consistency, who had held the points lead up until last week, is leading it. Lusk is running in second. Back at Kenworthys Motocross Park in Troy, Ohio. Jan Beekes, Jerry Bernardo, and yours truly, John Kernan, watching the battle right here as you see Damon Huffman scoots around Ezra Lusk momentarily. This is a battle for the second position as you see Lammy just a little bit in front of them.
It looks like Huffman may have it, but they're still side by side. These guys have raced against each other. We talk about it every single time. These teammates are always neck and neck.
Well, you saw Huffman got around right there, and look at the lead that Steve Lamson has been able to pull away. And look at Ezra, looks like he might be fading. He's lost a spot there, and now Ryan Hughes comes up and takes over the position, and that drops Lusk from second to fourth in a matter of moments, and now he's got to worry about Doug Henry.
We know that Ezra Lusk has a sore back. He said after the first moto he could barely hang onto the bike. So obviously as we progress here in the second moto, if he's that sore, he's going to fall back.
Well, as beaten up as he is, I mean, it was a gutsy performance, a third-place finish in that very first moto. But, you know, these are very tough. You run 30 minutes twice, plus 2 laps at the end of that 30 minutes, and it takes a beating on your body.
Well, I tell you, at 18 years old, these guys really spend everything they have. That's why these guys are as young as they are, because they can take that beating, and wow, there's a beating for you.
Oh, right over there, Doug Henry has moved into the 4th spot. Ezra, I think if I were Ezra and hurting as much as he is right now, I think I'd just kind of set a pace right now and not worry about trying to work toward the front.
Well, as aggressive as these guys are, look at Henry trying up the inside of Hughes. These guys have tangled in the past, so whoa, man, ooh, almost looped out, as they said on that one, but Ryan Hughes hangs on to it.
I think he scared Doug Henry right there. Doug right behind him. It looked like Doug slowed momentarily.
Well, we have a chance to see on replay here the actual pass that took place. Look over these stutter bumps. Look at that suspension work, and oh man, there was almost contact behind that tree, but Doug Henry just went for it.
Well, Doug Henry moved around into the 4th place. There you see Ryan Hughes. Henry trying to chase him down for the 3rd position. Steve Lamson has moved away out front. Lamson had led the points until last week. He had some problems and dropped back in the points position, but he was only trailing by 2 points coming in here, Ryan Hughes.
Ryan Hughes is obviously very thankful he's got this far through the moto. It was about this stage in the first moto when he crashed very heavily in the Stairway to Heaven section. So right now he's probably finally building that confidence. But Doug Henry, look how strong he is. He hasn't been this strong in the second moto all year.
Well, maybe that new strategy on with getting the IV before the start of the first moto is going to help Doug Henry. And look at that. He just out-jumped him, but Doug maybe carried a little too much momentum into the turn.
Wow, let's look at this one on replay. Whoa, Ryan Hughes on the back wheel getting all the traction that he can. Now watch him fly. You can see how that back wheel stopped for a second. That's because he knew he came off there too high. The front wheel was too high. He was trying to bring it down. Then Rhino took the inside line and took advantage.
I thought we were going to have the pass of the year right there with Doug Henry, but it just didn't quite work out.
When you fly that far, you've got to obviously make concession for being able to slow down. He just was not on the ground. You can't put the brakes on if you're flying in the air.
You need air brakes, maybe a little parachute you can throw out. But look at Doug Henry on the inside trying to make the move, but Ryan cuts him off and scoots away.
Well, when you make a move, you have to give yourself a way out, and he keeps sticking his nose in places where he can't get out. But look how fast he comes back. Doug Henry is just really flying. As we look up front, his teammate now has been closed in. Huffman's right on him.
Yeah, remember that lead that Lamson had pulled away to. Damon Huffman, of course, one of the Supercross champions this year in his respected division, expected to do well here, and he has really cut the gap down on Lammy.
Well, he wants to go for the overall victory. He said, I'm going to go out there. I didn't finish right where I wanted to in the first moto, but I'm going for it in this one.
Well, we are at the midway point of Moto 2 with Lamson trying to hang on to the lead. Moto number 2 in the second half, but look at Damon Huffman, Jan Beekes. He has caught him and is putting on a serious challenge to take over the point.
Well, he is certainly going to school right now. He's looking for different lines that he can take. He has caught him using the same line. Now he's saying, okay, can I take different? Here's his first try. He's in the lead momentarily there, John, but what happens is the outside line, you can triple it instead of doubling it.
Right now, Lamson has a battle on his hands. Damon Huffman scoots ahead to the inside. Huffman made it work right there as he takes over that top position.
Well, he found a different line to use there, and it certainly worked for him. And now that he's clear, wow, look at him fly there. That obviously was the move that he was looking for, and right now he looks like the fastest guy out there.
Well, Damon Huffman going on the outside. Let's take a look at it once again.
He gets side by side. Oh, you could see that Lamson right there pulled a little bit of a wheelie, and then what happened is Huffman came in and took that line away from him. That's all it took, was one little slip up, one little loss of traction.
Well, you look just a little further back, you see Ezra Lusk, who's fallen back to 5th. He got off to a great start, but has faded. And Robbie Raynard also got off to a great start, but remember, we saw him almost miss a complete turn. He lost several positions, but Robbie has now worked his way up into the 6th spot.
Now, Robbie Raynard has crashed probably more than any other rider this year. He has broken bones. He's broken ribs and shoulders and wrists and everything imaginable. It's amazing he's still riding.
Well, there's Ryan Hughes. He's in 3rd. Doug Henry follows close behind in 4th. Remember, Henry won the first moto. He's looking at the overall picture and trying to make up some ground in the points battle, which is just incredibly close. 13 points separating the top 4 riders.
Well, it looks interesting to me that Henry closes in right where Ryan Hughes crashed in the first moto. You can't blame Ryan Hughes for being a little bit conservative in that one area of the track, especially the way we saw the way he crashed and also the way Jeff Emig just really bit it.
Well, Rhino, remember, he was just wandering around. He looked like the light bulb was about ready to go out, the way he was very, very shaken up. But he came back to finish 14th in that first moto. We should point that out. That was an excellent job. We've talked Rhino in pretty good shape, and I'm sure that paid off in that first moto after that crash.
You know, in Doug Henry's interviews, he keeps mentioning that we're trying something here with the doctor from the AMA. His mechanic says we're trying something. We know, of course, he had the IV before the first moto. I think he doesn't want people to know that that is what's happening, because then, of course, all these riders are going to want to get IVs and say, well, if he got them, why can't I get them? But his excuse would be, of course, hey, buddy, I've been in the hospital after the last 2 races. I need some help here.
Yeah, he's had the virus all year long that he's been struggling with. They think they get it under control, and then all of a sudden, it seems to pop back up. But you have to admire the determination of Doug Henry to come back, defend his national championship title the way he has with the problems that he's had. And he's won two motos, or 2 overalls this year.
It's interesting to me that right there, Ryan Hughes did not take the line that he's been taking so much earlier in this race by swinging wide and tripling that one in that section of stutter bumps. So maybe Ryan Hughes is possibly tiring here. Of course, when you take a big crash, wow, look how much he catches him in the air. Doug Henry's going to go for a move.
Doug Henry trying to get on the inside. Rhino closed the door momentarily, but Henry gets by. It looked like Rhino got a little bit out of the rut. And look, when you get out of that rut, he went up and had to slow down dramatically to keep from crashing. That allows Doug Henry to scoot away.
Ryan Hughes got pushed to the outside, almost ended up into the tires. He came out of the throttle, and you can just tell by his composure right now, he's just having to back off. I think he's tiring.
Well, Doug Henry is now in third. He is looking to chase down his Honda teammate, but Damon Huffman is the guy everyone's chasing. Here at Kenworthy Motocross Park, a battle for second place shaping up between the Honda teammates Steve Lamson and Doug Henry. Remember, Doug Henry won Moto 1. He's looking at trying for the overall, but beyond the way it is right now with Huffman running in the lead right now and finishing second, he would take the overall but points. They would come out with the same number of points now that Henry has gotten around Steve Lamson.
Yes, Henry shot to the inside there. These Red Riders have duked it out earlier this year, but we've always seen Lamson in the second moto make better of Doug Henry. But now Doug Henry is strong, and he's taken it to Steve Lamson.
Well, Doug Henry has moved into the second position. If it finishes this way, he would end in a virtual points tie. There you get to see the move, Jan.
Well, they're side by side coming in here, and what happens is Lamson goes to the outside, Henry to the inside. Look how hard Henry is trying to get drive off that corner. He absolutely just took all the strength he had and muscled it off of there.
Well, Damon Huffman is leading. If he holds on to win, he finished second. That would give him 47 points. Doug Henry, who won the first moto, if he would hang on to finish second, he would finish in a tie with Huffman with 47 points. But the overall victory in the prestige would go to Huffman because of the tiebreaker winning the second moto.
Yeah, the highest finish in the second moto always is the tiebreaker, and believe me, Huffman knows that. You know, speaking of Huffman, he's only 18 years old as we hit the final lap. There may be a new rule coming from AMA where you have to be 18, not 16, to become a professional, because they want these guys and encourage them to finish school.
Well, we should tell everyone that the racing here at Kenworthy's Motocross Park would not be possible without the help of these fine sponsors: Dunlop Tires, KK Motorcycle Supply, and F&S Racing. Thank you very much for your support.
Damon Huffman doing a fine job on the Suzuki that we've talked about, has the conventional forks on that machine. We mentioned the rule about having to be 18 years old. That's not a rule yet. They're considering it. And if they do, these younger riders that start early, it will be retroactive. They're not going to throw them out of professional racing.
Guys like Robbie Raynard, Kevin Windham, guys like that.
Yep, they're certainly going to be able to keep those big $1 million contracts that they have.
Well, look at Doug Henry tries to make a move as the checkered comes out, but Damon Huffman comes away with the victory, and that will give him the overall. Henry, Lamson, and Rhino with Ezra Lusk holding on to the 5th position. As you look at the rest of the top 10, let's check in with Jerry, who's with our winner.
All right, Damon Huffman, the overall, a Supercross track, a Supercross rider, showing everybody what you're made of. 2 and a 1.
Oh, yeah. You know, Hank kind of went 4-1, and, you know, that surprised me. It happened so quick, and then at the Hangtown, I kind of, you know, was back in 10th and 8th, 7th, and I knew that wasn't good. You know, I dropped from 2nd to 5th in the points, and hopefully today I moved up a little.
Hey, how'd you feel out there in Moto 2, man? You were on, like I said earlier, full shred.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that, but yeah, I pushed really hard to get by Lamson, and you know, that kind of wore me out because I rode real hard during the middle, which I usually ride harder towards the end, you know, but I held on and, you know, took first, and I couldn't be happier.
A little bobble there on the finish line. What was that, your little on-bike knack-knack?
Yeah, the groove, you know, comes all the way out, and I knew I made it past the checker flag, and from then on, I didn't care.
Okay, this is ESPN, too, so I can say if the Jerky Boys were here, they'd say, mighty proud of you.
Yeah, they would.
Thanks.
Damon Huffman, his 2nd overall victory of the year. Doug Henry making a move in the points as they get the same number of points. Ryan Hughes, who came in here as the leader, has some problems. Well, Jerry has caught up with Doug Henry.
Doug, on camera, Avion toast. Cheers. Good job.
Thanks a lot, Jerry. I was feeling really good out there.
Well, we saw you. I just said to Lammy, you went into that last lap, hot on the number 4 bike's tail, and then, bang, you popped out in 2nd.
Yeah, you know, I was trying to move up through the pack. I got stuck behind Ryan for a while, and
once I got by him, you know, I caught up to Steve, and I got by him, or got around him, and last lap I saw Huffman, you know, not too far ahead, so I figured, you know, I'm just going to go for it, and if he makes a mistake, I'll get him, and he didn't make a mistake, but I was right there in case he did. Okay, whatever you're doing to change your training schedule and that sickness thing, hey, you're on it, a smiling Doug Henry, second in the second moto. Good job. Nice haircut. Thanks a lot, Jerry. Hey, you know, we got this thing started, and, you know, I want to thank my mechanic, Pete Steinbrecher, for helping me out, you know, throughout the whole season, and he knew I always had it, and I knew I always had it, and it's, you know, it's just a thing of working it out. And again, I want to thank Tom Malone from the AMA, and you know, thank all my sponsors, Honda especially, and Dunlop, Scott, Fox, everybody out there. Thanks a lot. Shoey.
Doug Henry shoeys his way to the top of the points, the defending national champion, an 8-point edge over his Honda teammate Steve Lamson. 43 points separate the top 5, and Jan, anything could happen. There are still 4 events left.
You know, Doug Henry is celebrating here, not just because he's leading the championship, but because he's not sitting in the back of an ambulance. Look how happy he is. He didn't even win this thing. He finished in second place, but he knows he has a great shot now, championship-wise.
Well, getting that IV to start the race instead of after the race certainly turned out the trick. He didn't have to worry about the dehydration. Doug Henry finishing second overall, but he did win the first moto. Congratulations to our overall winner, Damon Huffman.
To pick up a position, and he does. Jerry Kane goes.
Do things that are a little bit down.